But football without fans is not. You play a football match without fans, you're getting it. It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch, it becomes nothing.
And to Johnson. Johnson. Larson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! Nakamura! He has done it! Isn't that just typical?
The game is over. The Rebels have won.
A star is born at Celtic!
Champions. That's who we are.
Takes care of his business.
Yes. Welcome to the viewer. Another Jungle Gems episode. It is the season opener. Celtic against Aberdeen. We won 2-0. What a fantastic day. Glad to be back. The boys are back. Good Gaza. Happy. How you doing?
Big Bobby Dazzler.
How's happening, boys? How you getting on?
Good.
I've just
Good, mate. All the better for seeing your lovely face.
I know I went for a few pints here before the game, and you know that way you start to get a hangover at half time. So I was just lying on the couch there, and I forgot I said I would come on here tonight. And I was lying on the couch, and I seen your message, Paddy, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go!" So I went.
Oh no, again.
So I went and got my iPad and well, up and running there. Know what I mean?
Nice one. You enjoy the game then, Dazzler?
Aye, it was good, wasn't it?
No bad.
By the way, we'll just get it out there. Get it over and done with. The England bitches have just won the World Cup, the Euros. Sorry.
I know. I'm just watching that now, man. It's fucking
That's
cows.
what I says to. That's what I says to Gav Dasbo before you came on there. The only good thing about it was the man that scored the winning goal to a tap off like he did these for everybody else.
No, I never seen that.
Yeah, I did.
All right, don't have me scouring the internet for that.
Got a bit fun.
Don't want to be upset to you.
Guys, 2-0 to Celtic. A goal right at the start, and then we took what seemed like forever to get that second one to put it to bed. Harman, how you doing, mate? Your mate Jack the Marcus came on in the second half, but he missed a sitter, but we'll have much more maybe chances on the other games. I'm confident that will be a top scorer for Celtic this season. Welcome to all the viewers, man. Hope you had a brilliant Sunday watching the game. An awkward kick-off though, 4:30 in the afternoon. That was a bit of a gutter right in the middle of the day.
Who's got a telly on?
Me.
Get it off.
Don't tell me what to do, you dick.
Get it off.
Yeah, I've turned the volume down. I've got the golf on.
Nice one. Right, okay. The lineup, Paddy. The lineup. I don't think there was any surprises there. There was a possibility of Ange putting in a curveball, Jens, rather than Welsh, in the centre back position. But Welsh was the man who started most of the games in pre-season. So it was a back five of Hart, Taylor, Welsh, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Josip Juranovic. Cal Mack playing the number 6 role as per usual, and O'Reilly and Hatate playing with him in the midfield. Then up front, Kyogo, Jota, and Maida. By the way, Welsh. People might have said that he was the weak link in the starting 11 for Celtic, but he shot his critics up very, very early on. What a way to start your account, 2 minutes in or whatever it was, 2 minutes in, and a header for a corner kick. Can't ask for much better.
Aye, scoring for corners, that's not going to last, is it? That was new.
Welsh has actually scored a few headers for corners, I believe. Much more than Starfelt anyway. Starfelt never managed to register a goal last season, but Welsh has had a few for corners, I believe. I thought his performance was alright, man, but overall, I thought Celtic played reasonably well. I was reading the post-match comments for Ange. I'll just read it out to you. He said, I thought we started the game well and we had good control of it. Then the last 15 minutes of the first half, we got slack with our passing and allowed Aberdeen to come into it. But in the second half, I felt we addressed that and controlled the game. But I just thought we needed to be more decisive and we were wasteful in front of goal. I think that's an honest assessment of the game. I would 100% agree with that.
No, definitely, mate. I mean, we look very, very comfortable in possession. Some of the build-up play was really, really good. Pressing, obviously, again, as you would expect, was fantastic. But it just looked to be at times that we were looking for that beautiful goal every single time we tried to walk into the net instead of being ruthless and clinical. And I was hoping at half time maybe Ange would go in and fucking fire a rocket up their arses. But no, we definitely did like a bit of clinical up front. But again, Aberdeen never really offered too much in opposition, which I was quite surprised with. But we did well. Opening game of the season, 2-0. Started off with the most unbelievable tifo that we've had now and probably ever. A full stadium. Even the directors were fucking holding up the flags. So massive, massive respect. Fair play to the Green Brigade and everybody else who sorted that one out. Great start, great day. So who are we to argue? Was
Peter Lawwell holding up his flag?
He might have been, mate. He might have been indeed, because he was at the game. He's rumoured to be the next chairman of Celtic.
And John Coyle there, happy with the game. Good to get a clean sheet, of course. That's definitely a bonus. Don't want to be too harsh. I think we need to be a wee bit more clinical in front of goal. And that kind of echoes the comments of Ange Postecoglou. Peter, by the way, first half, I thought Rio Hatate was running the show. But over the course of the 90 minutes, I think Jota deserved man of the match. That's how I jump.
I definitely. I thought. So for me, Jota was frustrating me a wee bit during the early parts of the game because, he was trying all the fancy stuff, and I'm like, here, keep the fancy stuff for when we're out of the silky flair stuff. Keep that for when we're out of sight. No, when it's only 1-0. Hatate, what a player Hatate is, That's a new signing. That's a new signing this season for me. So Hatate, brilliant. Jota's goal is the way he says to us. He goes, he loves a goal against Aberdeen, that boy. So it was good, wasn't it? It really was good, wasn't it?
I heard on the radio that Jota scored against Aberdeen in every game last season. Not a bad record.
So he just picked up for where he left off.
Aye.
And I'm going to go into Celtic today and ask for a refund for my ticket money today. I never seen the flag. The flag get unfurled. That tifo, whatever it is. Me and Amy were debating this on the way to the game. Good conversations that we have. And so the way the flags were up, I couldn't see through it all. So I was told. I seen some pictures of it, and I was like, "Oh, that does look brilliant, doesn't it? Looks superb."
By the way, was superb.
Who was it who unfurled the flag? Did they get anybody out, or was it Cal McGregor? Was it McGregor?
No, the Green Brigade didn't let me see it.
No, it was Cal Mac, mate. Cal Mac unfurled the flag.
And how Jack, our captain, performed today, Paddy, Cal Mac?
Superb as always, mate. He was always kind of offering himself up as an outlet. He looked to be the guy who was kind of dictating things and getting the game going. I thought on midfield was really, really good. I think Hatate started off well. He kind of tailed off towards the end of his game before he came off. Obviously, he came off with an injury, a mouth injury, even though he was wearing a gum shield, by the way. Still burst his mouth. That's what he gets for wearing a fucking blue gum shield. But no, it was the midfield were decent, mate. And the wingers, I thought my this game today was all about pressing, which he done really, really well. Jota, I thought he was decent at times. A couple of times I thought maybe he was showboating a wee bit. But I wouldn't really class that as a kind of lack of respect thing. I thought he was kind of just enjoying his football. But
sorry, what you're talking about with Jota, there was one, I think it was our chance right after the corner kick. It was our first big chance after the goal. Jota was wasteful in the counter-attack. He went to go for a chip when he had better options. He went for the speculative chip and the keeper saved it no problem. And immediately I looked at Ange Postecoglou and he just wheeled away in frustration, man. So it's good that he's demanding 100% for everybody. And
Well, by the way, seeing you're talking about Ange Postecoglou, see at the start of the game, and I know Dad's a boy, obviously because of your comments, you couldn't really see the game. See when it was on the screen and the "You'll Never Walk Alone" started with the crowd, Big Ange was just kind of standing at the side, mate, and he was just kind of looking as if he was taking it all in. And for a second, mate, I actually thought he was going to burst out greeting.
That was one of the best walk-ons today I've seen for a long while. I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's because I sat in the upper tier today, and sat in the upper tier, and I don't know if it's because now where I'm sitting now, because normally I'm in the corner flag and the bottom tier, but no, it was really, really brilliant today. Everything was brilliant today, wasn't it? Apart from we should have had about 6-7 goals, and do you know that's a wonderful problem we've got? We're winning and we're criticising we never scored more.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We have to seek our problems, don't we?
I don't know. What I like is we can score from so many different positions, so many different players. Whenever we spoke about who do you think will be the most improved player for Celtic this season, everybody had a different answer, and that's a great thing. It's not just the usual suspects. There was another chance which Callum McGregor, I thought, wasted it. Paddy, like, maybe I think you've got a different vantage point when you're watching it on the TV, but during the game when I was watching this particular chance, it was great. One touch, two touch football, and then the ball fell to Callum McGregor, who ran in, and he just took a bad first touch from what I could see, and he just fluffed his lines, and at that point it kind of petered out, and I think there was an eventual offside. But overall, the attacking football was great, but it was just like wee kind of things like that were symptomatic of us wasting our chances. And at that point, going towards the end of the first half, Aberdeen started getting a few counter-attacks. Paddy, the joiner. Is that a man who knows me damn good?
I don't know. This man will need to tell me who the fuck he is, because I don't know who you can. I'll find it.
You might have done a homer for him, you never know.
Aye, must have fucked up.
He joined the flying column.
Yeah, half time, who do you think was a happier manager? Because Celtic kind of huffed and puffed a bit, and we failed to get that second goal. Jim Goodwin's tactics did start to show with the counter-attacks that they were cropping up more and more. Who do you think was more content, and Jim Goodwin at the time?
Oh, definitely Goodwin. Definitely Goodwin, mate, because he kind of came out at the start, well, before the game, sorry, and the big words like he was going to disappoint Celtic today, and he was going to turn up and make sure that it was a kind of a hard game for us. It was to an extent, like, but I think that was purely down to Celtic themselves, that they came out the first day of the season and they tried to play a kind of fancy, free-flowing football, which is always lovely on the eyes, but every single one of us are always wanting to be kind of blessed by a bigger scoreline. But we went into half-time at 1-0, so it was still a decent return. Do you know what I mean? But it could have been a wee bit more clinical and this and that, but listen, whatever happened, we've still won the game at the end of the day, and we're still the fucking champions of Scotland.
I liked a good wee rendition of "We Shall Not Be Moved" today in the top of the league and all that. Now when the second goal went in, because obviously that meant we were top of the league. So hopefully that doesn't top of the league right until the last day now.
Where I was sitting, see, you're talking about the atmosphere. Where I was sitting in the south, there was directly opposite the Green Brigades. I think in the armour corner of the stadium, the boys have brought in some drums. So now you've got some percussion in that side of the stadium, and it's good to hear that, man. I enjoyed that. It's good that at one point they were singing the Sam song for a good 10 minutes. As much as that song is good, after 10 minutes I was thinking, going to play another song, man. It's getting to be a bit on my nerves now.
I'm not a fucking jukebox.
We're all raving about it. You're right, John Coyle. Showboating is what Jota does, but it came off in the second half. Yeah, who can answer me this one? 55 minutes in, Rio Hatate, was he brought down in the box, or was it a dive? Because whenever he went down, the Aberdeen defenders looked very annoyed with him.
I would say, going by the rules of the game now, it was a penalty, but you could imagine why some people would say it was soft. But as I say, the same fucking rule of thumb. Like he went for the ball. The Aberdeen defender had already kind of fell to the ground and still took Hatate out of the game. So it's still a penalty. Whatever you look at it. Was there a stone wall penalty by any stretch? But I would assume it was a penalty. Right?
Was that the first half? Because was there not a penalty claim in both halves?
This one was in the second half for Hatate, the one that I remember anyway. I'm not too sure about the one in the first half.
I'm going off memory here. Game because I was just talking just to get back to that Callum McGregor one. Was that the one where he just picked the ball in the middle of the park and just ghosted right through everybody? And I thought it had today was just pick his spot.
Mm-hmm.
But he done something stupid.
Quite possibly, mate. Quite possibly.
But Gav, how good was it to be back today?
Oh, it was fantastic. The weather was awesome. The crowd were brilliant, you know, and as you said, with the tifo at the start of the game, everybody was on it. Everybody was singing.
Mm-hmm. I like to read rendition of the fuck the Tories. I loved that, man. I was loving that today.
That was good.
I think that song should be sung by every supporter in every stadium in every part of this country. I think that should be sung by us right all the way down to the Huns. Everybody should sing that.
A coordinated attack on the Tories. A bad idea. See, Ian Bankier, the chairman who's resigning, was he a Tory or was he a Labour?
He's a Tory.
Tory,
yep. As is him, as reported fucking replacement.
Peter Lawwell is the rumoured replacement.
Peter Lawwell, he knows the city, yeah.
Aye. Well, listen, as I said to you guys before, he's not the majority shareholder, but he has a major shareholder at Celtic, and he never went away. His retirement from the CEO was a strategic move by him to try and take the flag off Neil Lennon and the abject disaster that was the 10 in a row season. He was always going to be a big player, regardless of whether he was there in the CEO kind of role or not. So he's still there. He's still lurking in the shadows. But by the sounds of it, he's going to come in as the new chairman. But do you know what? That's probably something that we should maybe save for the old Tuesday chat when we've got plenty of time to talk about it, because in the day,
let's just get back. Let's get back to the game. Let's talk about the good stuff. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the feel good factor stuff.
That's what I like to hear, pal. We don't get to say that much, but let's hear it.
Joseph Agnew, I hope you're doing well, Joseph. I thought Celtic were slow in today's game. What would it be like if Aberdeen attack or any other team that we could cope with? Yeah, by the way, if you can I keep that comment up there, but I think to play Aberdeen, it was probably best that we caught them cold today rather than Jim Goodwin having a run of games with Aberdeen before the kind of jail. So I thought today was an opportune thing to play Aberdeen. In saying that, we've always been very effective against them at Parkhead. And continuing on the Agnew, Jota needs to stop trying fancy flicks and kicks. Face the ball and put it into the net. And said, pretty much stop being wasteful. But it did come off in the end. That goal, the second goal, the one that kind of put the nerves to bed. Because the longer it was 1-0, the more we were kind of feeling that uncomfortable, niggling feeling in the back that maybe Aberdeen can pull something back. But the Jota goal was fantastic. I think he was linking up with Turnbull perhaps, and then he was confronted by an Aberdeen defender outside the box. He managed to kick the ball past him, but also use a bit of physical strength to shrug him off. And then he just lined up a fucking perfect shot, man. That it's a beauty, and we're already saying it. I heard it on the radio. I was driving home. People are saying it's a contender for goal of the season. Paddy, fucking outstanding.
It's superb, mate. But obviously, like Stevie Welsh opened up the scoring. I think it was about 2 minutes and 20 seconds or something. It was a corner kick for Matt O'Reilly for the right hand side, whipped him with his left foot, and Stevie Welsh right at the centre of the box managed to raise up higher. Then I think it was Stewart at the back for Aberdeen, who had a really good game, by the way. But Stevie Welsh, 6'1", managed to jump higher, get a good header on it, get the ball in low past the Kilroos, and that was a really, really good goal. Great to get a goal right after get go and put us up front very, very early. That's a great way to start the game, mate.
I take it that was your favourite goal then, because when I say about the Jota goal, you might pray for the Welsh goal.
No, mate, I just like everything to be in order, like, you know what I mean? So we'll start off with Stevie Welsh.
Well done,
I had to switch to my phone there, boys, man. My battery was on indeed my iPad, and the charger I put on seems to be draining it more than charging it. So,
what are you saying, Dan? I'm fucking aged like a fine wine, mate. Don't know what you're talking about.
this is brilliant, man. I love personal attacks on people. You can't whack it.
He's just dealing because he's trying to figure out who this Dan Bean is. But
who is this cunt?
Dan, keep doing what you're doing, son. I'm loving it.
Aye, please, aye.
That's not been dirt.
Right, so see, just like to sum it, like the first half, right? So the way I seen the first half was we come out and we controlled the game from start to finish. But you get that fear factor with Celtic that all it takes is one shitey chance for the opposition, and I'm sure Aberdeen nearly come back in at one each. We should have went 2-0 up. Aberdeen went up the park, and it looked like a sitter, and they put it round the right side. Was it Johnny Hayes put it round the right side? Put it in the right side of the post, but then again,
it was a counter attack, mate. So obviously Celtic had they flooded the midfield with the full backs and left the two centre halves higher up the pitch, and then Aberdeen get a break of the ball, pushed up the park, and they managed to flank the wings and then get the ball in the middle. And it felt to Johnny Hayes about fucking maybe 15 yards away from Joe Hart, the centre of the box, and it was literally a sitter, mate. It was literally a sitter, and Johnny Hayes put it to the right of Joe Hart's post with his left foot. So thank fuck for that. It could have been a different story, but again, it's football, mate. You've got to take your chances, so it works either way.
And then, so, but that's what I'm saying. They didn't look like they were troubling us at all, and it just looked like we turned up. Once we got that goal, that I felt. Do you know, like, there's games where you're at the edge of your seat and you're like, we need to get another one here. I felt as soon as Welsh scored right in the first couple of minutes, that was a game won. Do you know, you get the feeling? No, it's just some days you're like, right, that goal might not be enough. We might need to go and get more here. But I genuinely felt that at 1-0, the game was won. So we'd won the game right from the very start, if that makes sense.
Aye. Here, one aspect of our play that I hate, it's just part of the philosophy, is the passing out for the back, and whenever we get pressed, the heart and mouth moments, whenever sometimes we're just pissing it about at the back and people are shouting just hoof up the park, that whole kind of conflict between the fans and the philosophy. But today, there was none of that. I think Aberdeen were happy to kind of sit off us when we had the ball in defence. I think whenever Cameron Carter-Vickers had the ball, especially there, they were happy for him to have the ball, but normally when it's our left-sided centre-back, whether it be Starfelt or today Welsh, of course, that's the defender with the onus to kind of travel up the park a wee bit, try and spray it about to feed the midfield. So I think whenever Welsh had the ball, Aberdeen were pressing more, but whereas with Cameron Carter-Vickers, they were just standing off. But either way, there was no kind of heart and mouth moment for that. The only scare I do remember was very early in the first half, whenever it was like a through ball for an Aberdeen defender, and I think Cameron Carter, for an Aberdeen attacker, and the ball went towards Hart, and Hart came out on the very edge of his box, and I don't know if he handled it on the line, but it looked a wee bit kind of skittish moment at that point. I wasn't too sure what was going to happen. Obviously, what VAR is not yet taking place in the game, but that'll be a few months down the line. But I do remember that part. Cameron Carter-Vickers had a fantastic sliding tackle right at the very end. So this was like in stoppage time when Aberdeen were through on goal late in the second half, and he had to slide in last ditch defending, but it was a brilliant tackle, and I thought he was the best defender on the park today. I thought he was showed great leadership without his,
a lot of people are saying that Stevie Welsh is the best defender on the park. It's kind of hard to disagree, even though at times like Welsh, which is my kind of pet peeve about him, is that when he gets the ball, he always looks to be very, very indecisive and pretty slow in his decision making when he's got the ball. But he did have a good game. Obviously, started after with the goal today, and his defending, excuse me, was pretty decent. Vickers beside him as well. Frank Brennan there says that I've always said that Ange Ball always needs us to get that early goal to settle the nerves, and we've got it after 3 minutes, and usually that means 2 or 3 to follow. But today we were slow and pedestrian. I can't really argue with that, Frank, because we were kind of slow, but I wouldn't say we were pedestrian, but we just looked to be playing a lot of kind of build-up football and trying to. It was almost as if we were trying to score that beautiful goal all the time, mate, instead of being direct and going for the jugular, which I think we'd all like to have seen. But as we played some nice, lovely, inventive football, so we still managed to win 2-0. You know what I mean, which was decent for a team that was kind of struggling to score today. So, yeah, not a bad fucking day at the office.
There was a comment earlier on for the Egyptian King talking about Kyogo and his chances. It wasn't really a day for the centre forwards, whether it was Giakoumakis, who missed a fantastic sitter later on, or Kyogo. I felt that we struggled to give service to them. But in hindsight, who would you have started? Like, obviously, we won the game, so it's brilliant. But in hindsight, do you think it was more of a game for Giakoumakis rather than Kyogo in terms of the service that we gave Kyogo?
Mate, Kyogo's movement after the ball today was brilliant, because the whole front threes game was all about pressing. You look at Maeda was pressing everywhere. He was backing up Taylor. He was backing up through the middle. Any time that Aberdeen get the ball on the right hand side with the new guy, Jaden Richardson, he was playing behind Matty Kennedy. Any time they two get the ball, Maeda was fucking right in their face. If Greg Taylor wasn't winning the tackle, Maeda was at his back, and it was the same on the other side as well. But Kyogo was kind of running through the channels all the time, and he was being that kind of shadow player. But for me, the day, like against the new guy, I can't fucking forget his name again, the new captain for Aberdeen, big fella, he was pretty strong and physical, and they obviously had to play McCrory through the centre back as well, because they never had skills, he couldn't play. Kyogo was kind of left on his Todd, couldn't really deal with the physicality. Running off the ball, he was absolutely fine. Chasing the ball, he was fine. Picking up against the two big strong guys, you could see the difference when Giakoumakis came on. He was starting to bully them. He was rolling them. He was pulling them off the ball. So for me, mate, I probably would start every game with Giakoumakis.
I've spoken to you before about this. O'Reilly particularly, he says that he loves playing with Kyogo because he says that his movement is unreal. But I think in terms of the service that Kyogo gets, the majority of his goals are normally from the flanks, the cutbacks, the crosses. Although Kyogo's movement is really, in my opinion, built for playing it through the middle, we don't normally take advantage of that. It's normally coming from the flanks, and that puts the emphasis on Jota, on Maeda, on Abada, etc., for them to do their magic on the flanks. Today was just maybe not the day for Kyogo, but first game of the season. Don't want to be overly critical, but we got the 2 goals anyway. We did the business. By the way, for stats, possession, we had 69% possession, a lovely number. Shots, we had 21 of their 5. Shots on target, 9 to their 3. Corners, 9 to their 3. And fouls, we had 11. They had 12 fouls. Fairly straightforward game, straightforward possession. We predicted that we would have the lion's share of possession, of course. I thought that the referee, there wasn't that many kind of massive talking points. So Thankfully, we don't really have to talk about that, Paddy.
I felt it was a cock.
I mean, they're all fucking cocks, but there's my big pal, Dan Breen. I used to like you carry my toolbox about 20 years ago. Right, okay. I know who you work for, you cunt. You must have worked for Mighty. Still don't know who you are. You need to tell me your first name, because I don't know who you are. I've never carried a toolbox in my life, you cunt.
No, Dan.
Big Frank was delighted for Wales today. We all know he's no world beater. Doesn't profess to be either, but for me, he always has a part to play for us in the SPL. I hope he stays and continues to work hard. What do you think about that, Gav? Do you think Welsh has got a big part to play this season? I know, obviously, the last couple of days we've knocked back a loan move for Toulouse. I think it was £3.5 million for a optional fee as well. So, do you think he's going to force his way into the team? Or do you think it's going to be Starfelt walks right back into his position and then Jens takes up the third centre-back?
Right, well, I'm not going to include Julian in the equation here, but so we've got 4 centre-backs. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Starfelt, and then as backup you've got Jens. A lot of people are a wee bit excited about Jens because we've been looking at him the previous year as well. And we've got Welsh. We knocked back the offer last season from Udinese for Welsh. And now Toulouse have came in this summer for Welsh. So obviously people see something in him. I think the boy's got potential. A lot of people write off centre-backs whenever they're not 6'2" plus. This boy is not blessed in height. He's only about 6 foot. But he's content. He's content to do a job for Celtic when required. If we were to let him go for a season-long loan with option to buy for $3 million, who do we bring in as a fourth choice? It's difficult to bring in a fourth choice defender who's content. Do you really want someone with that attitude who's content to be on the bench as the fourth in the pecking order? Welsh has got the carrot of he's going to improve, and he might get a chance whenever someone goes out. That's the encouragement that he needs to stay there and to develop his game. But at the same time, if you're his agent or his father, talking about him getting his own development, does he go elsewhere? Maybe from a selfish point of view, he should leave. But from my point of view as a Celtic fan, I'm happy that he stays. I think it's too big a risk. We're leaving it ourselves exposed if we sanction that move for him to go abroad. Would you agree?
I mean, I don't think he's the worst centre-back that I've ever had by any stretch. Obviously, last season was his kind of first proper season as a senior professional. So you would expect that last season he would have kind of ironed out his mistakes and this and that. But again, I don't want to be too negative or too critical. But for me, when he gets the ball, he's too indecisive and slow for Ange's kind of fast-paced build-up team. Like, I think when Aberdeen started to camp out in their own half, I think it was maybe about the 36-minute mark, maybe a wee bit earlier than that, but round about that. Joe Hart started to come out his box and be that kind of third centre-back. And when he started to come out, he started to actually make attacks for the centre-back. So when you look at teams like that, who are going to camp in, that's the way that we're going to play out. So we need our centre-backs to be really, really switched on and be kind of fucking fast-minded, already know what they're going to do. For me, I don't think Welsh is as kind of switched on as what maybe a Starfelt would be, but he could kind of grow into that position. You never know, but as you say, mate, he's a good choice to have his backup. Clearly, when he's getting into the Champions League football, we're going to need Scottish players to build up the kind of coefficient players. So he's certainly not the worst, but do I want him as first team choice to do? No, but we'll see how it goes.
One improvement, Baz, I don't know if you've got an opinion on it. One improvement I have noticed about Welsh was he came on in the latter half of the season under Neil Lennon, the failed 10 in a row year. And I thought I liked his aggression, but he gave away too many needless fouls. I think he stopped that part. That's one part of his game he's brought in. It's more of a controlled aggression. But Paddy is good in bringing the ball out.
You need to remember he's just a young boy, you know what I mean? So he's learning his trade. So he's in a good mix of players with good experience there, and dare I say it, Julian included. Now for who he's in the training ground with, who he's now learning. And on the games, do you know, he's never ever going to be a 9 out of 10 player, right? He's never ever going to get you. He's a steady 7, 8 all the time. Same with Greg Taylor. In fact, Greg Taylor started to stand out a wee bit more. Do you know what I mean? He's a young boy and he's learning, and he's coming on to a game, so he's at the right place. I don't want to see him leave either. You know what I mean?
I tell you, that boy Bernaby's got a fight in his hands. I'm not saying that Taylor's a world beater. We know that he's not, and as we said, he's probably a kind of a steady Eddie. Greg Taylor 7 to 8, or 7 to 10 most games, but he's going to fight tooth and nail because being a first choice at Celtic, and I mean, like, that's as a Scottish footballer to aspire to be that. It's a brilliant thing to do, to play. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but what I'm saying is Bernaby, I know that he's been brought in for good money. I think Taylor is going to fight tooth and nail. We won't give that up easily. And it'll be an interesting battle, but it's good to have a good competition.
That's good, but that's good that that's happening, though. You know what I mean? That's good that Greg Taylor wants to keep it, so he needs to work harder. Tony Ralston, by the way, the only player that I would criticise today is Firebomb. Do you know what I mean? I thought he had a bad game today, but other than that, he'll come on to a game as well. So when Ralston comes on, you're thinking, all right, that's good. Ralston's solid. Ralston gives his all for the 10-20 minutes that he's on. You know what I mean? So I in the defensive, right? And I was listening to Clyde Wan the other day, and now when they're going through their predictions. And that Hugh Keevins is like, he predicts Rangers to win the league because of Celtic's shaky defence. Yet we conceded the less goals last season, and we've got competition for every single position. You know what I mean? So, you want Hugh Keevins to tip Rangers every single year anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, no. I think defensively we're in a good place. When we get Starfelt back, and then the CCV Starfelt partnership's up and running again. And then you've got Juranovic, Taylor, and then their competition. The defence is all right.
There's Ashley McMillan as well. Must say today I felt a lot more content with the defence. No messing about at the back. Little lacklustre up top, but overall great team performance. I think it was a pretty good game. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the only thing that was missing was that wee bit of kind of clinical, hunger up front, but it's not as if we were lackadaisical or anything and not trying to score. We were just trying to do it in a different way and try to entertain the fans. And the defence was solid enough, but again, Aberdeen never really countered us a lot. But a couple of times that they did, the Johnny Hayes one, that could have been a goal if it was the free strike finishing. And the big boy up front, fucking can't remember his name, is Milosevic or something. He was pretty sound and all, but Vickers handled him well. Welsh had a good game. Greg Taylor, I thought he had a good game. He played the inverted role very, very well. A lot of times you saw him, he was in the centre of mid. He was starting off attacks, he was coming inside, he was breaking up there. He was getting tight to their midfield anytime they were starting to kind of come forward a wee bit. Juranovic, I agree with you, Dasbo, mate. I thought defensively, he was decent. He managed to keep up with their left winger for pace and that, but going forward, he never really offered much. So, on that note, you would love to have seen Ralston coming in at the start, bombing up the line, getting the kind of low-driven crosses in, which he always seems to do.
It felt for me, and this probably only happened 2 times, right? But see, it happened 2 times too many. Do you know, see when the ball gets crossed in, it's like they've crossed it behind where the strikers are, and it's like on the penalty spot, but the strikers are already on the 6-yard box waiting for the tap in, and you're like, oh, come on, man. You're just making it easy for them to clear that to fuck. See, boys, what I normally do right before I come on these podcasts, because I normally watch the highlights again just so I remember it all. But see, today I'm just going to have pure memory for a half-cut state of mind. So if I've got anything wrong, you can...
Mate, that's what I do every time. Don't worry about it.
I'm normally a lot more prepared than what I like to that I kid on. Know what I mean? No, but do you know what? That was the first game of the season, boys. Right? We won 2-0. We got a clean sheet. We scored an absolute worldie. We scored via corner. All right. Giamakis probably should have had the match. Giamakis should have probably had the match ball. Do you know what I mean? When he came on, so. These boys are all going to get up to match speed very, very soon. So if we're winning and they're doing it, then do you know what I mean? It's I we're in a good place. I'm not one of these arrogant type of guys that we're going to win the league. We're definitely. I don't know if we're going to win the league or no. I just think we're going to win the league. Do you know what I mean? So, but if we keep going the way we're going and we improve and we come on and we start hitting the match fitness at the right time, then we've got to take a lot to topple.
See you to the 4 substitutions for today. So I think it was Ralston, Abada, Giacomakis, and Turnbull. Out of the 4 subs today, I was happy with Frank Kennedy coming soon. The fight of the century, Frank the Grump, Brennan Beast, Billboy, the Baldigo, coming to around here. I would be a good one. I was most impressed with Turnbull today. I don't know if any of these people disagree with me, but I thought Turnbull came on and he had a bit of dig about him, a bit of fire. Whenever he was getting the ball on the half turn, as soon as he got that, he was looking up, finding passes, releasing it quickly. He came on to move things about, to be dynamic. And obviously, he's another player who's got a fight on his hands. People coming in with O'Reilly and Hatate taking his place when he was out injured. He's got a massive fight in his hands. And again, another important player, also Scottish as well, so he helped that coefficient later. I thought he did really well today. And he disagree?
No, definitely. I mean, obviously, like the midfield started off with McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly. So that's what has been looked like your kind of first choice midfield for the last few weeks. So obviously Turnbull's had a fight in his hands to come in and impose himself on the team and kind of reclaim his jersey. You know me, mate. I've been kind of critical of him kind of most of last season. I think he's lacked a bit of heart and a bit of fight. But what I saw him in pre-season, he looks to be a lot sharper. He looks to be getting his balls out. No, physically, obviously, but you know what I mean. It looks as if he's up for a fight, which
Did you just say budget?
Budget, mate. No, but listen, he looks as if he's ready for a fight, so I'm happy with that. And when he came on today, I thought he looked to be driving the team on. He looked to be getting involved. He looked to be kind of getting the team further up the pitch. And I thought he did well in that respect. So if he wants to come in and cement his team, cement his position back the first team, I'm more than happy to see players fighting for that, because we really shouldn't be settled on a first choice midfield, if you know what I mean. We've got Turnbull coming back in. We've got Aaron Way coming in. He should be looking to kind of seal a place in the team as well. So it's good, because it's going to drive players on to be better than the other one. You know what I mean?
Abada as well. He came on. I think I forgot his name. I love the competition that we've got right now. Like out of sentiment for some players, like Abada, for example, because he's young and he had like a great season last year in terms of goals and assists. I kind of feel sorry for him, and I think he should be getting first choice on the right wing. But no, it's not like that, and I'm happy that I need to kind of ditch the sentiment and just say competition is good. Maida today, although he never had his best game in terms of end product, he tried a lot. I'm just loving the competition right now, and it's just the best man gets the jersey. There's nothing about favoured personnel, which we saw with Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, and Neil Lennon. I think they had their favourites. He's kind of cutthroat. I love that about him. He's cold and he just cuts through the base. We've got Red Scotland here. Love the format of this channel, guys. Thanks very much, mate. Glad to be back for the season opener. Along with your hard, down-to-earth nature, it isn't contrived to get subscriptions, and it shows me. Thanks again, mate. You didn't half know how much it's appreciated. And we love comments like that, man. It makes everything worthwhile. And again, without you guys, without the interaction, it's a bit flat, this podcast. As much as Paddy and Daza bring character to it, we love the interaction. So thank you very much, Red Scotland.
And Lanky likes getting his balls out, as we all do, mate. Here's my big pal, Mr. Mysterious Dan Breen, who won't tell me who the fuck he is. Right, troops, I'm off. Keep the tools sharp, Paddy, mate. As always, mate, this is the sharpest tool in the box. Right here, right now. Red Scotland, you three, McGinty and Dale, that will do for me. Thank you very, very much, mate.
I'm blushing
John
here.
Coyle. We do have strength and depth, which will push them all to improve. And that's what we need. If you look at kind of where we started after this first game of this season, contrasted to the first game of last season, you can see how much we've come on as a team and how much we've come on as a squad. Do you know what I mean? But James McCarthy, for talking to Guy for Everton, all the experience with Ireland, doing the Premiership, can't even get into the first team's squad as substitutes. So it's good that we've got hungry players in the team. And for my calculations, mate, the way I saw Postecoglou setting up, it's all about the press. Everything's all about the press. It's not about giving teams a minute to go and play football against us. So I think our fitness team and Anton McElwain and everybody along the lines of that is going to be massive, massive parts to play off the park in terms of fitness and kind of condition with our players.
And Paddy, you've just made me lose a bet with McGinty. I owe McGinty £5 because he called it. I think it was the 46th minute there where it took you until James McCarthy. I had you down for much earlier on. So, yeah, that's money I owe McGinty. Thank you very much for that.
Sorry, mate.
Daz mentioned that the first game of last season, that was Hearts away, and we lost 2-1. Who's our next game? Is it Hearts or is Hearts in the
No, it's right. I think it's Kilmarnock next or Ross County next, then Kilmarnock. So Ross County, Kilmarnock. I don't know what order it is, but it's 2 away games. Then we've got the Scumbos at home, and then we've got the Huns at home.
Right. Okay.
So that's, by the way, we've got a very, very, very tricky next few games, and if we can come out the next few games unscathed, now then it sets the season up lovely. Bearing in mind, by the time we'd lost our first 3 away games last season, I know, so we need to go out here. We need to set a marker next week, whether it be Rugby Park or Dingwall. We need to set the marker and then just keep them on the day.
Aye, so it's Dingwall away, mate, on the 6th, which is a 3 o'clock kickoff. Then it's the following Sunday, we're away at Rugby Park against Kilmarnock. Then we're at home to Hearts on the 20th. Then we're away again to Dundee United on the Sunday, and then we're away again to Ross County before we play the
Chargers.
Yep.
I need to start looking at the fixture. I need to stop taking the game at a time. I need to start.
Oh, there's wee Nick. Aye, you're right, mate. You're absolutely right, pal. That's the very same man. You the man that always wore the fucking Doc Martens. That's you, pal. Lovely, brother. Good to hear you again.
Nice one.
A celebrity, isn't he?
He is, mate. I heard he's a celebrity on Instagram as well.
Everywhere we go.
That lassie did pull her tap off. It's the main picture on
I told you, mate. I don't miss a set of tits, don't you worry.
By the way, I'm dreading the media fucking coverage of this Euro win for England, man. They're going to treat it just as important as the men winning the World Cup back in the 60s.
Fuck it, mate. It's a sad day before the fucking the she bitches England can win a fucking trophy before the guys can. You know what I mean?
England came also close against Italy a couple of years ago. I don't think I'll be listening to TalkSport anytime soon. I normally have that one when I'm working, but no, can't date anytime now.
Nah, fuck that shit. So who do you think was the kind of the top players of the day, guys? I'll fire a couple of questions out.
Okay, Hatate, fuck off. He was king of the hill. But over the course of the 90 minutes, has to be Jota. Look, Juranovic had a poor game, but sticking with people who did well, yeah. Kalmak, quietly assured. So there we go. Rio, Kalmak, and Jota for me. Best players on the park.
Yeah, I'd probably
That's
go
what?
the same. The same. Taylor played well. It's just to add. So obviously the three that Gav just mentioned there, Hatate, Jota, and who else did you mention?
Hatate, Kalmak, Jota.
And Kalman, right? So, they three, and a wee special mention to Greg Taylor. I know what I mean. Did you see the one? Did you see the one where Greg Taylor got booked? But he done it. He got booked, rectifying Jota's mistake.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Run back. And he pulled the defender.
And you seen him pure raging with Juranovic is like you seen him like physically. So oh man, it's good, isn't it? We're in it. I'll not say that again, and I'll keep saying it. We're in a good place, isn't it?
Well, talking about good places, we've got a comment here for James Young. Team is not coherent. Too much with own ideas. Too much money. Too much adulation. What do you think of that, guys? Do you think that's we're heaping too much praise on the team now?
Let's break it down. Team is not coherent. Okay. Too much with their own ideas. Maybe you could say that about Jota. Jota was too much of a maverick today, although it did come off in the end. But I would still give him man of the match. Too much money, too much adulation. You talked about the players get too much in terms of wages. That's not their fault. It's not Celtic's fault. It's just the way that football's going. And if we don't pay them that money, we need to keep ahead of the curve in terms of our nearest rivals. So I would have to disagree with that.
Well, when you talk about too much money, you look at two players a day, right, which is a kind of contrast for each other. So you've got Jota for Celtic today. So we've paid £6.5 million for him after a very, very successful loan spell. Paid £6.5 million for him, which is for essentially Benfica's B team. And he's been a revelation last season. He's been a match winner of the day. And then you look at Aberdeen, and they've signed a guy for, I think, £200,000 for Benfica's B team. The fucking, can't remember his real name, but he calls himself the Duck or the Duke. So that shows you the contrast there, that we have spent money on a proven match winner as opposed to a fucking promising youth player, you know?
Yeah, I have to disagree.
And there's James will be the top. You big international diaspora there. Many big wagers on sidelines. Jota, natural showman, as Kyle Go and Gigi.
We're going to the Champions League, man. We need players of this ilk. I'm talking about positive wise. I don't think we've got prima donnas. Like, yeah, Jota did try and put on an entertainment show today, but I can't fault anybody overall, man. It was the first game of the season, and the direction that we're heading in as a club, for the Champions League and for the league domestically, I have to disagree with the comment.
Absolutely. I mean, we've signed a guy last season, Joe Hart, fucking so many caps for England. He's won medal after medal, trophy after trophy down in England. Been a bit on the sidelines the last few years, comes up here, got a point to prove, and he's a match winner. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter really what you spend, it's about how you spend the right money on people. It costs us £1 million. Jota costs us £6.5 million. Doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? As long as we get the right people on for the right place of the team.
And then Joe Hart goes on holiday and sings songs about the captain. You know what I mean?
Well, there you go. Humble. Well, there you go. Never spent our money on Callum McGregor. Come through the youth ranks, and he's one of the most pivotal players in this team. I think actually Vickers it was the other day there. Somebody kind of interviewed him and he says who's the hardest working player in the team in training, and he said Callum McGregor. He says the guy comes out at the start of training and he sets the standards every single time. He says every single one of us need to meet these standards. So that's exactly what you look for a captain. That's exactly what you look for a Celtic player. That's exactly what you look for a player that's playing in a team that's wanting to go and win leagues at domestic level. and go push herself on Europe. So for me, the squad new is brilliant. It could be better. We could get a few additions in, but the new is a great squad with great players, great attitude.
Barry, who do you think would be the most likely candidate to be the laziest trainer? And I don't mean that as an insult, because some of the greatest players were the worst ever trainers, like Sergio Aguero. He was fucking. He didn't really try at all in training, but on match day he just came alive. Who do you think would be the most likely candidate for the Celtic equivalent?
Honestly, mate, that's a really fucking hard question, because I can't see anybody in the squad that kind of seems lazy. Possibly, if I was going to say anybody based on their performances on the park, I would maybe say a Jetty, but I've not really heard anything to suggest that he's a lazy trainer. Do you know what I mean? Anything that I've heard says that he comes out and work hard, but when I see him on the park, he looks kind of lazy. But there's James Young again. We'll bring his comment up again for the answer. We'll tell against top teams. I ask question: what style does Celtic play compared to O'Neill's and Rodgers, etc.? Gav, I'll let you deal with that one, Paul.
What style do we play? What style do we play compared to O'Neill's or compared to Rodgers? Well, O'Neill's was a very, very physical approach. A lot of it was heavy, based on like set pieces and things like that. And you had like giants at the back. We are much more fluid. There wasn't that much coaching with O'Neill's team. He just expected them to do the job on the park. He didn't really even watch them. He was a coach. But O'Neill's, there were like senior players, like they were proper men. They knew how to do the job on the important occasions, and they got a lot of success. We're trying to emulate that, but we're doing it in a different approach. We don't have the same budget as what that we had in that era. We've had to downsize in terms of the finances. It's a more closer comparison, our style to Brendan Rodgers' style. But for him, I call it a cliche, but it was possession for the purpose of just having possession with Brendan Rodgers. And they would start attacks again by playing it back to the keeper and starting again, you know. I think we're much more dynamic, although we do enjoy a lot of possession. We're much more dynamic. I think we're a bit more cutthroat. But again, the Ange style, we're only just at the start of the second season. The first season, you know, I mean, he had it hard to make that turnover so quickly. So we're still in the infancy of the. I wouldn't even say we're halfway through the kind of the tenure of Ange. Obviously, you don't know how the future is going to last. You don't know how long Ange is going to be with us for. But in an ideal scenario, we're still at the infancy of the Postecoglou revolution, if you want to call it that, or the evolution. But yeah, it was night and day between us and O'Neill. They used a lot of high balls, set pieces, headers, things like that to win games. And why not? Because they had the assets to capitalise on that. We don't have the height to capitalise on many set pieces. We can barely hit a free kick. A direct free kick. I don't think we've scored a free kick yet. Well, more closer towards the Brendan Rodgers style. I don't know. I don't really know what the overall point was to the comparison. But fair enough, Jamie. Like, everybody's got an opinion. Obviously, you're looking to see more of this Postecoglou team. But in terms of the finances, from your earlier on comment, you know, the finance now compared to the Martin O'Neill, that's night and day. We've had to downsize a lot. John Coyle, if you were linked in Jamie, you wouldn't be an Ange team. I would agree. Unless you were an absolute superstar like a Cantona, maybe he might make a bit of leeway for that. I've heard some coaches in the past, they would show favouritism to a couple of special games, like the Cantona. Cantona was afforded different rules compared to the rest of the bunch, and Alex Ferguson's thing at Man U. You know, if you did the business on the park, well, I don't think we've really got those gems at Celtic. Everybody has to be honest and hard work and talent, you know.
Well, see, if you look back to Martin O'Neill's team, you guys will remember the famous yellow shirt in training. What did you get that for?
Have I been the poorest performer in training?
Yes.
What was it called?
Oh, Dasbo, you know this, mate. I can't fucking remember. You've asked me this before.
The Ramen Vega t-shirt or something that was called. It was named after Ramen Vega. Ramen Vega had an absolute stonkery of Hingway training session one day.
Did we not have that before Vega came in? Because I remember cunts like fucking Bobby Peter go to it and.
No, and then what you had to do was, see if you got it, you had to walk up I'm sure you had to walk up London Road to the Barfield, to the stadium wearing it. That was the rules. The rest all get the minibus for the Hingway, and if you got the t-shirt, you had to walk back to Parker's wearing it.
Fuck you and your Parkers, you cunt.
And I like to find that one. I love it, man. I
fucking hate it. Absolutely hate it.
By the way, I don't know, right? I genuinely do not know if this guy listens to this podcast, and if you do, can I just say, come on to fuck my man. I seen a guy the day with the Frankfurt cap on, right, at the game. Guess what he had on the back?
What?
Guess.
Fucking
16 Ramsey.
Mate,
I seen a picture the day, right, and it was so obviously somebody's took a picture and they fucking put it up Twitter or whatever, and it was which Rouse's numbers at 56, 56 and Row chops on the back of it.
So, some fans are dicks, aren't they?
By the way, talk about dicks. Nothing to do with dicks, fun enough. Just trying to move on for this, right? What did you think about the banners outside the stadium, guys? I went down midweek to have a good look at them. Took a rain down, which I used to take a rain down and go for a wee walk through Celtic Park. Dasbo, you know the script underneath the tunnel and all that. And used to take a rain down and show them all the players, and they would ask me, "Who's that guy, Dan? Who's that?" So I would, can I tell them who it is? And now they've changed all the banners outside. And for me, mate, it's just it's a nicer colour, right? But now it's a generic fucking banner, and the only two guys who've got on it is what fucking Callum McGregor and somebody else. It's
Billy McNeil.
Is it Billy McNeil? It's pissed because is I say, mate, I used to take a rain down and had all these players, and they would ask me, say, "Oh, who's all these guys, Dan?" It was like a kind of a wee learning curve, do you know what I mean? I actually got to fucking pass my knowledge onto the rain, and now I'm just like, took a rain down the other day, and he's like, "Oh, that's a lovely square. That's a lovely triangle." All right.
I'm sorry, I like the new ones. I think it's more. It's less tacky. I'm going to get criticised here to fuck, but I think it's more tasteful. It's no tasteful. It's more elegant.
It's more crisp, isn't it?
It's more elegant. It's more. I like it. I like the new ones.
It is more crisp, mate. The colours are nicer, and I know exactly what you mean. But for me, just the whole kind of history, like everybody talks about Celtic, it's been a historical club and a club built on tradition, and now we've took all that tradition away and just put on this kind of fucking.
You can't take
generic banner.
You can't take tradition away by taking down banners. Tradition.
No, I know, but I know, but the likes of what I've just said to you, like if you're to take the wee Amy up, and there's fucking 100 players up, and she says, "Dad, who's that?" and then you start getting into a conversation.
I brought her up that she's the one that's telling me who they are.
I believe that, mate.
What do you guys like? Me for the banner, I'm indifferent. I'm not too fussed. They'll change it every now and again, you know. So I'm not too fussed. But I get your point about the history and being able to kind of pass on that knowledge. It's a talking point. Who's that person? I'll tell you about them. I do appreciate that, and it kind of triggers people's curiosity about different figures. What do you guys think about statues? So correct me if I'm wrong. We've got what three statues: Jock Stein, Jimmy Johnson, and Billy McNeil. Yep. What do you think?
Yep. Seriously, you're agreeing to that? We've got 3 statues. Jock.
Is a brother Wolford? Is a brother Wolford?
Right. There's 4 statues. 3 at the top, 1 at the bottom.
Right, brother Walford, I was forgetting that one.
Outside the front, so you've got Billy McNeil down the bottom, you've got Jokestein, Walford, Jimmy Johnston up the front. Outside the stadium, you've also got the plaque outside for Tommy Burns.
Yep, I was just about to mention the plaque as well.
That's what you've got. Gav, you could probably put 100 statues up, and you could probably put up statues for, like, say, Jimmy McGrory, players like that, Jimmy Quinn. Do you know what I mean? Players that don't really coincide now with younger supporters, people who we don't know. We spoke about this on the podcast umpteen times, and we spoke about guys that maybe a lot of younger people don't know. Do you know what I mean? So it's probably one of the ones, like, where do you draw the line? For me, the only thing that annoys me is the Tommy Burns plaque. I think Tommy Burns is more deserving of a Shy TV plaque on the wall. But that's just me. I think the likes of Lennoxtown should be named after Tommy Burns.
Right,
something
okay, right.
Something a bit more befitting, mate.
But you say the plaque, right? For me, he's got something. He's got something that thousands haven't. That's played for Celtic.
I know, mate.
No, he's like Tommy Burns. Obviously, is immortalised, right? No matter what, everybody. God, I can't even say his name without welling up. Do you know what I mean? So, a plaque. So, I think just to like the statues is lovely as it is, right? Because of the statues you get Caesar as you start the Celtic way. Then you got the top, and then you've got the founder, the greatest ever manager, and the greatest ever player, right at the top, right. So maybe now, right. So that's plenty. So maybe now, like plaques for maybe now. See where a Tommy Burns plaque is. Maybe start putting now. Maybe that be plaques or now plaques here, there, and around the stadium and everywhere. Do you know what I mean? For players that deserve, for players that deserve immortalised.
But that kind of backs up my point about the old banner. Like the old banner had people immortalised on the stadium. Now I know you probably can't have a fucking statue for everybody, but even the likes of that, if you're going to put up a banner, put up your heroes, put up your past legends, put up your kind of historical greats of the club. Don't change it for a fucking bog standard banner with some triangles and fucking squares. And I know it's probably a pure moot point, but it's just something that annoyed me the other day. Like, as I say, that's just from my personal viewpoint, mate. Because I take the Wayne down with the dog or whatever, and I'll show them the fucking legends of past, and it's a talking point for me in the Wayne. I'm passing on my knowledge of history about the club, and now it's just like, aye, son, that's a line, that's a square.
Well, I don't
that's a
take him into bar 67. You know what I mean? And say, look, there you go.
Mate, I do that. Don't you worry. Plenty of footies with a big cup. Thank you very much, Frank. Appreciate that, pal. I'm sure it won't be the end. We'll probably see some more, mate. Don't worry about that.
Aye. How was it?
Do you know something, guys? Sorry to butt in, Gav. Somebody sent me a Photoshop picture. You've probably seen the pictures that have been photoshopped for the new banner going up. People have been taking photos and putting up pictures of this and that. But somebody sent me a photo, and it was a new banner, and they'd actually the stanchions, the fucking steel fucking erections outside. Somebody had photoshopped them all white. And now that's something that I have been on about for years and years and years. See those fucking scaffolding planks outside the Celtic Park? For God's sake, fucking paint them white, man. Paint them some sort of colour, black, white, fucking green, whatever. And somebody sent me a picture of this Photoshop, and it looked absolutely beautiful. And I'm thinking, just like, how hard can it be to fucking get a bit of fucking spray paint on and get them done? Because it just elevates the stadium outside to be absolutely magnificent. A bit of white paint, you know what I mean?
I agree.
You should do it, Paddy.
My mate?
You should do it. Well done, Paddy, talking about Celtic legends, the James Edward McGrory and Jimmy Quinn, with the latter having played for Celtic more than a century ago. And he's still our fifth top goal scorer of all time. One of my favourites is of the legends is Patsy Gallagher. I love reading about him. There was an old Celtic book. It was like a kind of It was like kind of tailor-made for children, and that's when I read it as a wee boy. And it was like a kind of comic strip type format. It was called The Will to Win. Does anyone remember that book? And that was, it was like it would tell you about certain games, even like losing and the against Feyenoord in the San Siro, games like that, triumphs, heartbreaks, everything. Even like 1988 Celtic against Dundee United, Machiavelli 2-1. All the great memorable games, and it was just a brilliant way to educate young Celtic fans about the Celtic legends. I loved it. I loved that. The Will to Win. Does anybody remember that one?
Never seen it.
I missed all of that because I was away getting a beer. Things that shouldn't happen live on a podcast.
I think it should, depending on your viewpoint.
Gav, you just, and you know what, everything you said sounded brilliant to, and then it just hit a brick wall with me and him being a pure dick. So sorry, mate.
Happens every week. Every week, I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
Hey, boys, my battery's about to run, deed. Another thing that shouldn't happen live. But listen, thanks very much for having us on again. I absolutely love it. I actually do genuinely miss it when I'm not on, know what I mean? And I've really, really enjoyed it again. So thanks. An absolute brilliant result today. First one after a flyer. And hopefully we're just going to get better and better and better. And hopefully come May, we're all jumping about daft again.
Aye. It'll be an adventure until then. Gaza, thanks very much for jumping on. You're always welcome. Always welcome, mate.
Right, cheers, boys. Right, take it easy, right?
Right, catch you, son.
Bye.
Bye.
Aye, opening days go, man. 2-0 against Aberdeen. Brilliant weather, great atmosphere. We had a wonder goal, a contender for goal of the season. Aye, it went very, very well, and there's much more room for improvement.
By the way, mate, what a goal it was. Obviously, he's Jota. He's drifted in for the left-hand side. He's kind of rode a challenge as well. Managed to get up, and it was his first touch with his right foot. He's managed to kind of bring it in front of him, and he's just unleashed a fucking absolute howitzer past the Kelders. Great finish, and you could see how much he enjoyed that. He did the whole kind of standing and taking it on kind of thing. And it was the same for everybody today, mate, because the atmosphere was electric. And I says to you before we started, like Big Ange on the telly on Sky Sports, as soon as You'll Never Walk Alone started getting sung by the fans, Big Ange was almost kind of standing on the side, just kind of soaking it on. And for a second, you looked at him, and it looked as if he was about to burst out green because of how amazing it was. Even fucking the perennial dick that is Andy Walker happened to mention the atmosphere, how good it was. So that's how good it must have been. Do you know what I mean? If that wee arsehole is actually been as a positive mention on Sky Sports.
I think it's good. Like moments like that, you know, you can never just get used to being a Celtic player or get used to being a Celtic manager. It's moments like that where it really just kind of, it reminds you of how special a club this is. You know what I mean? Not many clubs in Europe could emulate what we do. Special club, we all know that. Obviously, we're going to say that, but people who left Celtic, they always talk about the atmosphere. They always talk about occasions like that, and it's going to get even better whenever the Champions League rolls into town. You know what I mean? Moments like that people talk about in their interviews whenever they sign for Celtic, about these great European nights that they've heard about, and they want to be part of it. And we're going to see that. Today was a taster. An Egyptian king wherein I wanted Jota to do the when he hit that world day, but best to see. Best to say that against the Zombies.
Yeah. And there's Kenny boy. Kenny's obviously I think Kenny was the first person to ever leave a wee comment fun enough when we started up. So Kenny, good to see you again, pal, as always. Sorry boys, you've probably spoke about it, but Greg Taylor was immense today. What do you think about Greg Taylor, Gav? For me, I thought, you know, he did very, very well. He worked well down the left-hand side with Maeda. Both were backing each other up. And for me, a lot of his best work actually came in the middle of the park. The inverted kind of fullback stuff.
Yeah. That drifting into the middle of the park has become like muscle memory now for Greg Taylor. It's second nature to him. He's adapted very well to that. And the challenge is whenever you go into the middle of the park to collect the ball, take a good touch, turn around and pick a pass, become effective rather than playing it back. And I think more often than not, he was making the right decisions whenever he found himself in that position. He was the best of the two fullbacks today. He was better than Josip Juranovic without criticising too much. Taylor was very effective today, steady Eddie. And we were talking about it earlier on that Bernabei, Keevans is an old wank. Yeah, we're not going to
absolutely yes.
Yeah.
No disagreements there.
And we were saying it earlier on. Bernabei, he's got a fight in his hands. I hope that Ange signs players not just in their ability but on their mentality as well, that they're going to fit the group. And I hope that Bernabei realises that it's not a gimme that he's going to take that left back berth. He's got a fight in his hands, and Taylor's not going to give that up easily, because Taylor, I was saying it earlier on, I was kind of waffling, but he's found a good gig. This is, for a lot of players, this could be the penultimate of your career, being a first choice regular for Celtic, especially a Scottish player coming from humble beginnings of Kilmarnock, where a lot of people wrote him off. But I think people always say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work, and Taylor is epitomising that. He had a good game today. He was the best of the two fullbacks. And you said it earlier on, I think, whenever Jota gave the ball away and Taylor had to retrieve the situation, he ended up getting booked and he was screaming his head off at Jota. I love that. I love the fact that nobody has a kind of hierarchy in the system of the Celtic team where, he's the one who does the magic, you know what I mean? So I don't shout at him. If he loses the ball, then fair enough. No, you pull people up whenever they're not putting in the effort or whenever they're making silly mistakes. I love that nobody's considered special, that everybody's fair game if you don't try. So yeah.
And if you hark back to Big Ange last season, one of his most surprising comments for me was that he mentioned, obviously Calmac was the biggest leader in the team, and then you had Joe Hart, and he says, other than that, he says one of the biggest leaders that I've actually got in the team, in the dressing room and on the park and in general, is Greg Taylor. And I fucking near enough fell off my seat when I heard that. I was like, Greg Taylor, they're fucking kidding me on. But as you say, mate, that kind of personifies that today, that he's a guy who's still busting his arse, and then when there's a mistake being made, he's making sure it's known. Do you know what I mean? He's wanting to better the team. And what's that? Frank Brennan, Paddy and I both know all about hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. I think I'll take that as a compliment, mate.
Very underhand compliment.
Cheers, buddy. But no, listen, like you can look at guys like Taylor, you can look at guys like Stevie Welsh who put in a performance today. You can look at guys like Anthony Ralston, who a lot of people were clamouring to be played today. And I think, me personally, I would have loved to have seen Wilson playing from the start today. I know he came on. He did reasonably well when he came on. He's bounced up the flax again. Guys like Jackie Marcus as well. He's technically not a better player than Kyogo. Obviously, they're two different players, but for me, I would have Jackie Marcus playing all the time because he's a guy who can roll defenders, which he did at one point. He absolutely beautifully rolled that big boy Stewart, who had a very, very good game for Aberdeen. Unfortunately for Jackie Marcus, he fluffed his lines, had it wide of the mark, but it would have been a fucking great goal. Yeah. The good thing is, mate, we've got a very, very good squad. We've got a better squad than we had last season. A lot of the guys who were playing last season are now better players. They're more seasoned players. They're more educated players in Ange's system, Ange's philosophy, and they're more capable players. So a lot of people have said that, maybe some people that have criticised our transfer policy this season, saying that, we've signed Jota for 6.5 million, we've signed Vickers for 6 million, whatever it may be, Maeda as well. That's still the same players that we've had last season. But technically, when you look at those guys, mate, we've signed better players than they got last season. because these guys had never played in Scotland, they never played for Celtic, they'd never won a league, they'd never played in the cauldron that is the fucking Glasgow Derby. Do you know what I mean? So we've got far more experienced players, happier players, and more determined players. So I think we are definitely in the right direction. Ange has done a lot of work with these guys. You can see it straight off the bat of the day, mate. The difference between now and last season, the kind of fluidity and the thinking for Ange's tactics, how it's working, the pressing game, the direct game. Aye, of course, it could have been a bit more direct. We could have scored 13 goals, but it doesn't matter. We still managed to get the win. It was a comfortable win on paper, and a lot of fans were entertained today. So,
Yeah.
Could have been better, of course, but we're not perfect. But it was a really, really good game and a good win.
Another thing I was saying, the kind of overall direction that we're heading in as a squad, the kind of core age group that we've got is brilliant. You've only got a few players who are on the wrong side of 30. There's only one Paddy Miller, but it is indeed, mate.
Thank fuck.
If you take that into OnlyFans, you'll only get one result, and you'll recognise the guy's mug. But overall as a squad, great age group as well. It's healthy, it's young. We've only got a few people that are on the wrong side of 30. And another thing, like whenever you kind of cast your mind back to a few years gone by, a lot of the time you'd be saying, "Oh, we've got these big time players, and so he's going to go for 25 million and things like that," and you'd be expecting the big guns to come in and buy them, like Ayer, Edward, in recent times. We don't have that right now, and I mean that as a positive, where there's no big distractions. The players that we've got, they're going to have to earn their move to a big club down south if that happens. And at the moment, with their journey as Celtic players, they've still got a lot of hard work ahead of them, and I mean that in the best respect. There's no divas, there's no people there's like external noise, apart from Juranovic, but I don't think that was even concrete from Atletico Madrid. So I think the way that we're going right now, the stage that they're at in their careers at Celtic, is positive. It's still in its infancy. Things are only going to get better, especially getting used to the Postecoglou way. We've all heard it before from the people down south, the people down under. I mean, the second season is always best with Ange. So, onwards and upwards, mate. We've won the first game 2-0, clean sheet, fantastic.
Well, see what you said there, mate, just on a kind of a wee moot point. How many players do we have in that squad who are over 30?
Okay, so Joe Hart, McCarthy, but that's like he's on the periphery. So Joe Hart, McCarthy,
Moy. That's it.
Maybe Siegrist, I don't know, he might still be in his late 20s.
Oh, Siegrist, I think Siegrist is 31, but you wouldn't really count that as being a goalkeeper, do you know what I mean? But all our outfield players, bar Joe Hart, there's only 2 players that's over 30. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's only maybe fucking about 3 or 4 that's over 27. So we've got a very, very young squad, very energetic squad. And I know kind of Frank Brennan has been a proprietor of saying that we're underprepared for Europe and we're this and that. But I think, honestly, one of the biggest kind of bonuses of your squad is the youthfulness, the energeticness of the squad. Everything's all set up to press teams. And we saw that today. We basically pegged Aberdeen into their own half, which allowed Joe Hart to come out and play as a third centre-back. That's something that is going to be a huge bonus for us, because we just won't let teams come to Celtic Park and just play their football. We won't just let them come here and run about. They're going to have to be exerting some amount of fitness to beat us in a fitness race. And that's something that was spoke about last year that Ange wanted. He wanted fitness in his team. He wanted, energy. We've brought in Anton Michael, the sports science guy with a huge reputation, and I think now that's starting to culminate through, Gav, because we're not seeing a lot of injuries, unless the like say Ideguchi, who's taking a bad tackle in training. We're not seeing the hamstring injuries. We're not seeing the fucking muscular injuries as much and as relevant as we were last season. Like, it was almost every fucking 2 or 3 weeks. somebody was pulling up their hamstring. We're not seeing that now. It's good, mate. Everything's looking good. As far as I'm concerned.
Do you think there's any more changes expected for the backroom staff? One change that you did mention apparently was Gavin Strachan has got a new haircut. I never saw it. What's it like?
Yeah, I was just a kind of flippant comment, mate. It's a lovely kind of short, neat, tidy haircut. But I did notice that he's moved on from being the laptop to the tablet guy. So
Aye.
I noticed Harry Kewell. He was doing a lot of work on the bench. He wasn't kind of up shouting the ball, and so
good for him. Doing a lot of work on the bench.
I just sitting there playing fucking Snake or whatever it was. Snake, fuck's sake, wasn't it? Me sitting on his Nokia 230.
Right, mate. Aye. So, shall we wrap it up, mate?
Aye. I think that's a good thing because we're starting to talk pish now, mate.
We have, mate. We have, and we do excel in that as well. So it could go on for another half an hour as well. Right, okay. So to the viewers, if you're still watching, go on and hit the like button, please. Hit that like button. It's taken me an hour and 25 minutes to actually say that. Don't complain, and subscribe as well. We'll be back for the next Celtic game to do our post-match review, but we will be back on Tuesday for your usual weekly dose of Tuesday TikTok with the Jungle Gyms. McGinty couldn't make it tonight. He is watching the England women's team. It's a big guilty pleasure of his. But yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday, me and Paddy and whoever else is able to come on. And we hope to see you then. But I hope you've had a brilliant Sunday. An awkward kickoff at 4:30, like the worst time ever for a kickoff in the middle of the day. We're already at 9 o'clock in the evening UK time. But aye, a good day, mate. A good way to kick off the season, Paddy. Anything you got?
Aye, absolutely, mate. And obviously, an hour and 26 minutes in, and we've still got 50 odd watches. So, again, thanks to all the troops, all the regular commenters. Love the kind of variety and comments and whatnot. So keep them coming in. As Gav says, if you haven't done it already, give us a wee subscribe and a wee like, just gives us a wee kind of help to keep plugging this shit out, because we do it for nothing. You're getting it for free as well, so it doesn't cost you a penny. And back Tuesday to talk more shit. We'll probably go into a wee bit of, if McGinty's on, we'll probably go into a bit more depth in the whole Peter Lawwell rumour coming into the place. Ian Banker as chairman, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Hell hath no fury like McGinty's scorned. He hates Peter Lawwell. That should be interesting. He fucking hates him, man. I think he killed his family in a past life or something like that. McGinty fucking hates Lawwell.
But on that lovely note, it was great to hear for all the comments again as well, guys, and hope you had a great day. First opening fixture of the season. Fucking here we go, defending our title, which I'm fairly sure we're going to do.
Yes, second that. Right, again to the viewers, thank you very much. Good night.
Hail.